I have sought for more than a decade now to have the Supreme Court televised. And twice during my tenure as chairman of the Judiciary Committee, the committee reported out favorably legislation to require the Supreme Court to be televised unless there was some extraordinary circumstance invoked by the court. More recently, in this Congress, I have modified that effort with legislation which recommends that the Supreme Court televise its proceedings. When Bush versus Gore came up, then Senator Biden and I wrote to Chief Justice Rehnquist urging that the court allow that monumental case to be televised so the public could see it, considering the very limited number of people who could gain access. When I went over to the court that day, being one of the few who could gain access to the court, the block was surrounded with television cameras, so much public interest, but the cameras couldn't go inside. That day, the Supreme Court, with the Chief Justice's order, did change practice and allowed a transcript, an audio transcript, to be released immediately thereafter. I believe Congress has the authority, should it choose to do so, to direct the Supreme Court to permit its proceedings to be televised. The Supreme Court, in a series of cases, says that the public has a right to know what is going on inside the courtroom. And that was a case which involved newspapers. Well, in an electronic era where the public gets so much of its information via television or via radio, there ought to be that access. But the Congress has the authority to determine when the court starts to function each year, the first Monday in October. Congress sets a quorum for the court, 6. Congress can set the number of justices on the court, as evidenced by the effort by President Franklin Roosevelt in the mid to late 30s to increase the number of the Supreme Court to 715. Obviously, we cannot tell the Supreme Court what to decide, how to decide, but we can tell them about administrative matters. And the Congress has the authority to tell the court which cases to take. So the broad range of matters where the Congress can't act. I modified the effort that I had to have the Supreme Court televised instead of requiring it to recommending it, because in the final analysis, the court can make a determination on separation of powers. If Congress imposes a requirement, that can be overruled by the court. But if the public had access to what was going on in the Supreme Court, it seems to me there would be a clamor to have more openness, more transparency, and greater public appreciation of the fact that the Supreme Court is a battleground.